Hey everybody. So, in case you don't know, today we are working on Juggernaut Colossus. This is a 3D print. I have saved y'all the effort of watching me prime this and base coat it and then putting a good solid dry brush on it. So I can give you a little shade here. I mean, dry brushing. That's all it is. Using our dry palette. So, we're going to try a new product on this. I had some of these sent to me a while back ago. I know what they are, and they are now being sold in the dollar store. This is an alcohol ink marker with a brush tip. It's nothing new under the planet. What is interesting is these are fillable. So I can just put whatever I want in this, and we're going to goof off and see if we can't run paint through one of these markers and paint this Colossus with it. Sadly, I only have 3, so we're only going to be able to do 3 colors with these, and the rest will be brushwork. But we're going to give it a try. I'll show you what I have as a reference photo. I was actually surprised to see how hard it was to find a reference photo. Alright, so let's give this a shot. It might be an epic fail. But if it is a fail, the worst thing that could happen is we simply paint over a bad paint job. I'm not going to put the paint on thick. I still have a bunch of old 1.0 laying around, so we're going to try and burn that out. Give it a quick shake. And let's see how this bad boy is going to work. You know what? Let's start with the yellow, actually. Other than testing the product, I don't think I've really messed with their yellow much. Oh, there it goes. Apparently the agitator balls were stuck in the bottom. There's still one stuck in the bottom. Shows you how much I use this stuff. Okay. Really looks orange. Let's put us a good handful of drops in here. Not a whole lot going on there. Do I have any speed paint medium laying around? Probably not. Never have anything when you need it at hand. So let's just add a few drops of water, because I find a lot of times some of these speed paint colors are a little darker than they should be. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling like this product might actually be too thin. Give it a little shake. Okay. Does it leak? Does not appear to be leaking yet. Alright, to my understanding, all we have to do to activate this is give it a little squeeze. Get a piece of paper. This will work. Oh, there we go. Okay, so first up, I already see where this is going. I'm going to need a piece of plastic. but it looks like this is going to require its own little palette. This has paint on this side from where I primed this, but we have a little paint on the end of our applicator. I think we're just going to dab it around until that brush head looks saturated, because we do want to give this an honest try. If it works, it might be something interesting. If it doesn't work, nothing lost, no harm. Alright, let's give it the old college try, see how good we can get on our lines here. Okay. Okay, first impression, I have actually used paintbrushes much worse than this. It's got a decent tip. Wow, I'm genuinely kind of shocked that this is working as well as it is. The tip is, it takes a little getting used to. The tip's a little forceful. I don't know what to say. It's very different. But while it is different, it is definitely working. Wow. I mean, yeah, pickle me grandmother, Chuck. This right here is working. And if I'm being honest, it's actually working pretty good. And based on what I can see from the design, you could actually cap this, and you could store it like this, or you could store it like this. And I don't believe it'll leak. I'm sure there's a possibility there's some bad ones out there. But for now, let's be happy that we got one that works. Man, this is such a weird experience. Painting with this brush is, I know a lot of you don't really deal with actual cars, but it reminds me so much of a pinstripe paintbrush when you're painting actual vehicles, the little stripes going down the side. Super interesting. We're gonna finish up this yellow, and then we'll come back and try the red. Okay, so we got all of our yellow on. I got my secondary light on. I know it messes with the image a little bit, but bear with me, because it's the only way I can show you this yellow. Yeah. Fact. When you figure out the concept behind using this alcohol marker to paint, like if you didn't have a choice and this is how you learned to paint, you could have done some amazing things. This is very interesting. It's a little hard to get used to, but I could see this being absolutely amazing for kids. You don't have to worry about the brush tip drying out. You don't have to constantly reload your brush. I never even squeezed the handle another time after I did the initial blotch to saturate the tip. So, it's very interesting. It's a learning curve, just like anything new. It does work, and it works well. For now, we're going to set that there, and we're going to move on to another color. Let's see. Let's go to our reds now. Same process we did last time. Shake up our paint. Roar. Yeah, I really do not use these paints often enough. It's nothing against speed paint or contrast or anything like that. I just don't get the opportunity to play with these fun paints very often. Normally, under normal situations, I'm doing a lot of like wet blending and dry brushing and fine detail stuff. But for a miniature based game, I mean, this is working great. Let's add a couple drops of water here. Oh, that's another thing that's hard to get used to, is these reverse thread. On a normal day, I'm a contractor, and I do quite a bit of mechanical work, so for something to thread backwards is a little unnatural to me. Alright, so let's go back to our glossy plastic. Give it a little squeeze. I put a lot less paint in it this time intentionally because I barely used any last time. As soon as you start to see the paint build up on the tip, that's when you want to stop, because it'll get right there. You can see it starting to turn red. Just start dabbing it a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here's one of the things that's interesting about it. We just loaded our brush, and that's the last time we're going to load our brush. Crazy, right? Alright, let's try this. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Yep. Looks like it's going to work just as well as the yellow did. Yep. So weird painting this way. Alright guys, we'll come back as soon as our red's done. Okay, so we got all of our red done. It is looking amazing. The paint looks a little shiny because obviously it's still wet. Let's get on another light here. That's actually too much light. Let's turn it down a notch. So we still got to do our metallics. We still got to do our belt. I do have one pen left. These two are designated to their appropriate colors. So instead of washing them out and using them for a different color, I'm just going to leave them as they are. But we're going to go ahead and start our metallics, and since we've been using speed paint for this project, I thought it would only be right if we continued speed paint metallics. Not a huge fan of this product. it's not that it's a bad product. It's the simple fact that a lot of the colors look very strange. Like some of the metallics are just really awkward looking. But we got this little plastic tray here. We're just going to use that. Well, that's not good. This is a brand new bottle. Okay. God. You know what? I can't do it. This model looks too nice to put that ugly ass color on it. I'm sorry, guys. I really did want to stick to the speed paint, but that silver dries looking almost like a purple. It says polished silver. I'll show you what it looks like. It's this color right here. Now, I don't know what it looks like in your view, but I promise you it very much has a purple blue color to it. It does not really look silver. I do believe we might try to use one of the metallic reds for the helmet, but I'm not putting that crap on this model. It looks too good to mess with it now. So, Vallejo metal color. This one's aluminum. Yeah. Just put a couple dots of it on here. Vallejo metal color. This truly is what metal color speed paint, metallic speed paint should be. If you have never tried one of these products, go buy it. It will change how you paint with metallics. It doesn't leave brush streaks. It works like an alcohol. I honestly probably could use it out of this pen, but I don't know if... I think I would rather use this pen for colors than metallics, because I don't use a whole lot of metallic colors. These days when I do commissions, a lot of people want non-metallic metal because it's a rage. So let's get ourselves a little brush. Alrighty. Get our brush saturated. And again, these are all products that I will not use on a wet palette, just for the simple fact that it destroys a wet palette. We are going to get a little fancy with the hands, though. We're going to do some stuff with that that's going to be interesting. I guess batter's up. We need to do these eyes. Not that anybody other than us is ever going to see them. Get a little paint on the helmet. Don't worry about it. You know, because we are, we don't make mistakes. We're perfect. Yeah, that. No, if you get a little paint on the helmet, you know, it's whatever. You're going to paint over it. It's cool. Just try to keep your brush strokes long and even. Ooh, I just thought of something. I don't normally use washes, but I bet, I'd almost be willing to bet money that if I were to take a tone or a wash or just some watered down brown and black paint, heavily watered down, mind you, and put it into that pen, I bet, oh, I absolutely could. We're going to do it. I am going to use that pen like a Gundam marker, and then I'm going to come back with the pen and paint in all these recesses with the pen. Now I am using a metallic that is a few shaders lighter than what I actually wanted to go with, but I have reasons for that. It's going to dry a little darker, and after looking at all the reference photos I was able to find, this metallic should be at about a mirror quality. And I actually teetered with the thought of using some literal mirror paint. I was thinking about painting his arms and stuff with mirror paint, which, if any of you have ever used the Chromius Chrome or anything like that, I can guarantee you it will run through that pen. It'll definitely work. Alright, we are going to paint in these metallics, and we'll come back when it's done. No point in you sitting here watching me for 20 minutes with nothing to do. Alright, so we've got just about all of our metallics done. Now we're going to hit the head. I'm going to try something, and if we don't like it, we're going to paint over it. I've got this bronze copper metallic speed paint. It's separated really bad. I swear I shook it up before I started the video. But we're going to paint the head with that. It has these interesting markings on the back of the hand. I think we're going to line edge those with it. And then, I don't know, we might try and find some other places to integrate the color, just to give it some type of synergy. I know Juggernaut's helmet's always been a little bit different color than the rest of his body, except for in the cartoons. I just don't want to make his head the same color as his uniform if I can avoid it. So let's get this. God, shaking the hell out of that. This is going to be a really weird color, and I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to cut Juggernaut's head in with it, and then after this color dries, we may go over it with our red again. So this will be like an undercoating. So get our brush. I'm kind of wishing I would have bought enough of these funky little pens to do the entire project now, because I'm pretty sure everything I've used tonight could be run through this pen. And it's so strange to say that it was delightful to use it. It's such an awkward experience. I almost put one of these in my wash pot a little while ago, and out of reaction, I kept trying to go to the palette and do other things, and I never had to add more paint. I didn't have to squeeze it. It kind of like very slowly siphon fed itself. This is a very interesting thing that I think I might be using some more in the future, just for the fun of it, because it was fun to play with. It was a different thing that I've never done before. And we should always try challenging ourselves with different things. Never be afraid to try something new. You know, that's... fear is the biggest stopper in progress. But, alright. Let's start with the inside of the helmet. I'm going to need to cut this light on because I'm trying to hold this where y'all can see. Too much light. Yeah, I'm doing those details that nobody's going to notice except for me. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is that I like it. Okay, so there's the inside of the eyes. Now let's get around the nose and the mouth here. Get our sensitive areas, so to speak. One thing that's fun about painting this model is Colossus's face is just straight metal. There's not a whole lot going on there. You just paint it silver and you let him rock his color the way he wants to be. We call this the upside down method. Sometimes this is a necessity because we don't have you know, an extra set of hands. But flip your model hasn't got to look like this all the time. Flip that booger over and paint it from a different direction if it makes it easier on you. You do whatever it takes to make it simpler for yourself. Don't worry about what I tell you. Don't worry about anybody else tells you. For real, you do you and enjoy what you do. Because if you're not enjoying it, that's what you're doing wrong. Alright, so we're gonna paint up this helmet and paint up the back of these hands using this bronze color, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've gotten our bronze color on. It's there on the hands. And I actually think we're going to leave it that way. I like that it's a completely different color. Now we're going to paint the belt. And I guess we can just go back to our pen again. Because why not? Okay, it's good to go, but let's prime it again anyways. And I might go for a little bit more of an oranger color with his belt. We'll have to see what my mind thinks after I look at it. My reference photos show that his belt is literally the same color as the cloth on his body, which is fine and dandy, but that is so boring. So we might jack it up and do a couple layers and just bring that up to a little bit darker color. We'll be right back as soon as that's painted. Okay, so at this point I feel like we could definitely call it table ready. Sorry about the glare. This this whole episode's been nothing but glare. We could definitely call this table ready, and this would totally be acceptable, and a lot of people would probably think it's fairly impressive. Let's take it a little further. So one of the things we definitely want to do, grab a knife to point it out, is we want to paint the rubber on his boots. We want to paint them black. He has these recesses on his arms. We're going to want to paint those. Now, I'm the worst guy in the world to never use null oil, and while I had the video paused, I looked around and I actually found 2 brand new pots that I have never opened. Never. There's honestly, is there a date on these? 2020. So I think I know what we're gonna do with this last pen. Just because so many people like null oil, I actually think this is a really good tool for applying null oil. Even when I did use null oil back in the day, I used it in a way that still isn't really the normal way to use it. I would use a fine point brush and only put the null oil in locations that I actually wanted it, instead of just coating entire sections of a model with null oil. I think out of all the things I've tried tonight, this is probably going to be the greatest application for this pen. We're going to go ahead and fill it up, because I got to do something with this null oil. Just simple question for you guys in the comments, because I actually thought it would be funny to just intentionally knock this pot over. It really is a product that I pretty much never use, and the only reason I'm using it right now is because I have 2 bottles of it, and I know everybody actually likes this product. I have heard people are having a hard time finding null oil that's not gloss here recently. Okay, so we've had our first oopsie here. We got a couple hairs that are out of whack. So we're just going to take our razor and trim those individual hairs off. Okay, happy town. Give it a little pinch. A little more. Okie dokie. I wonder, does this go on the end? Ha! I really am having fun with this little tool. Let's see. Make sure we're good and primed here. Alright. So, what we're going to do in this situation is, instead of just slapping it all over this arm, we're literally just going to trace the inside gaps. And even then, we're just going to barely use the tip of the brush. Just kind of tap it a little bit. See there? Nothing crazy. We're not coating the entire model in it. We're literally just putting it right where we want it to be. And that's the only places we're going to put it. Okay. I'll come back when this stuff is done. Okay. So we are back. We've got our lines drawn in. We used the pen filled with null oil. It's looking pretty cool. One of the last things I want to do is I want to paint the bottoms of the boots. And then the inside of the leg logo. I'm going to put a little, I think I might put some metallic paint in there or just some straight red. I'm not sure, but it needs something it's a little distracting that it's all the same color. So a little Army Painter black. Right here in the background is every paint that we have used so far. With the exception of one. Army Painter Matte White. Because that's what I dry brushed everything with. Alright. Get a little bit of our black here. If you ever need to thin black paint and you've got old null oil laying around, that's actually one of the few things that paint's actually good for, is using null oil to thin black paint. It'll thin the paint and you won't lose very much pigment. Just get the rim of his boots here. I'm not quite sure what base I'm going to put him on. I might put him on the actual Juggernaut base whenever we finish that project. I'm kind of I'm at the mercy of waiting on materials before we finish the world's best Juggernaut. But this is something you could do. I mean, please do your own thing. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form should you paint your model to look just like this, or that this is the right way to do it, or anything like that. For all I care, just paint it purple, for all I care. Yeah, you paint this guy any color you want. I'm just going off of some old school Target toy references. Little lip edge right there. But yeah, when you decide to paint up your Juggernaut, just take your time. And if you want to paint it the way I did, it's only going to take you about, I don't know, probably be faster than I did it. It took me about a little less than 2 hours, and the only reason it took that long is because a lot of what I'm doing, I'm trying to be mindful of the camera view, and half the time when I'm cutting the camera off, it's so that I can actually do something that's kind of mundane, and y'all have seen how to do it a million times over. You all know how to put paint on a brush. But yeah. Okay. Paint the bottom of his feet. We'll have to come up with a dynamic base for this guy. But the other Juggernaut that I'm doing, the Jailbreak Juggernaut, I'm just taking a short break from it because there's a car that I want from one of the terrain kits, and I haven't been able to get my hands on one yet. I do have a couple of the Corset cars. I would rather give those to somebody before I just completely destroy them. As where if I can get the gas station car, it's already destroyed. And that's not going to hurt anything. Let's see. Do we go with the copper color? Or do we just go with the red? You know, let's go with the copper color. Why not? We haven't really used much of it. It'll be a nice little bit of contrast. Oh, that's a whole episode we should go over one day, is how contrast paint is not contrast or contrasting. That's an illusion in your mind because someone called it contrast paint. You think it gives contrast. It doesn't truly give contrast. If you ever go to a major painting competition and you're using contrast paint, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter how good it looks, it's most likely not going to win the award if it's a major painting competition with very serious judges. Now, your local hobby shops and stuff like that, hell yeah. You're using contrast paint and your model looks anything like this, chances are you're probably one of the best painters in your town. Let's see here. I will take some better pictures of this and post them at the end of the video. This is the end of the video. I really do hope y'all have enjoyed this and this is something you're interested in. Let me know. Did you like it? Do you dislike it? What would you like to see? I mean, I'm a servant to the people. You tell me what you want and I'll make it happen. Might take me a few days, but we're in this together. Yeah. Man, these things. Who knew? So interesting. I'm pretty sure I could have painted 100% of this model using these, and it would still look amazing. There is some extra shading I could do to really turn this into a pro-grade project, but I feel like for what its purpose is, this is beautiful. It looks amazing in person. Yeah, this looks great. But yeah, I'll take some pictures. You guys have a wonderful start to your week. Take care.